have to be somewhere at 11.
Hey, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. Hi, Andrew, talking to me.
Hi. Try to get that last word in before we go live. Hi, everybody. It's Andrew Plank with LePage. Good to be here. Beautiful sunny day. I suspect we have less people watching today unless they're at the beach on their phones.
So first day of summer yesterday, which is really nice. And we finally, so I posted this thing about the weather changing, that we were going up 5 to 10 degrees. And my friend from the state goes, is this Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's less if it's Fahrenheit, right? Fahrenheit is like, yeah, not as big a deal.
Yeah. So it's like super hot. So how is your week been?
Good so far. Yeah. Great Father's Day. And good, pretty good business. We were just relating some different stuff that's been going on in the marketplace, but overall, I've been pretty busy, but things are not. We were just saying that things aren't really flowing as well as they maybe have been. So checking in about that, trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, I find the realtor who wins is the one that adapts.
The one,
right?
The one who naps?
Adapts. And naps. Yeah. I mean, we all
be well rested in this business.
But you also have to, like, when you notice that there's a change happening, you have to adapt quickly, I find, if you want to keep up. True
that. Although I find it's interesting because if you do, when we're in a market like this where it's been multiple offers and very busy, and then and the market starts to shift and we're not seeing as many offers, we have to be careful that we don't emit, like, it's not a complete sea change. Things haven't entirely shifted, but we have to be careful about, do we have to go as hard and competitive as we used to? There's going to be people who still are living in that reality. And so you have to know what you're up against and just understand that you're not paying too much if you are working with buyers. But if you're working with a seller, you have to be actually careful about pricing realistically and maybe taking that bully offer when it comes in, if it comes in.
Yeah, and also like maybe changing from a strategy of waiting a few days to just leaving an offer open for 24 hours. That's what people have been doing to sort of give people a chance, give buyers a chance to get in there. And I found that that's worked really well for me.
Yeah, 24, 48 hours. You still want to have exposure for the property. It seems like such a tight timeline. And I, was talking with clients yesterday saying, feels so weird to be like giving these, there's sometimes 15-minute showing windows on some properties where you only can view it for 15 minutes because there's so much activity on it. And then there's some half-hour showing windows. My clients were saying, I can't believe we're looking at spending $1 million on a home we've only seen for half an hour. So I said, well, great, let's go back another look, and then we'll have seen it for an hour.
I spend more time trying on a pair of pants.
There you go.
Okay, let's go over the stats then. Today we're going to be talking about Saanich East and specifically Broadmead area. I've had a few listings in that area and a couple of buyers, and we've had to review all of the resident association websites and covenants and how that affects how you live in that area. So let's go over the stats.
Talk about that. Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Me. Okay. Victoria Real Estate Board stats for the month of June 2021. We had 614 unconditional sales so far in June. We're only halfway through the month. Last June 2020, there were 808 total. So we're approaching that number already, only halfway through.
We're 3/4 of the way through.
3/4 of the way there. Thank you. Whereas new listings, 860 new listings so far have come up on the market in June this year, 1,430 for the whole month last year. So we're kind of on par there, maybe a little bit off, but not bad. Active listings currently 1,479 versus last year 2,698. So quite a few more last year than current, but it is edging up. We were down around 1,200 at one point, weren't we? So.
Yep. I'll do the next part. So 262 new listings, 225 pending. So list to sale ratio has gone down. So we're moving more into a balanced market, hopefully. Price decreases are 50. This is on par with what we've been seeing. And then 251 sales last weekend. It was mid-month. So I tend to find people by mid-month or end of month.
Yeah.
And so last year at this time, we weren't sure what was going to happen. We had a glut of listings and then the market took off. I felt like 2 weeks ago, things had settled down. I was like, okay. And then maybe I realized it was me needing a little break.
Yeah. Yeah, these things happen individually. I mean, just because we're slower doesn't mean the whole market is slowed down. And just because we're busy doesn't mean that the market's busy. But in general, I think the market is slowing down a little bit. It happens every summer anyway. Everyone is distracted. Everyone is thinking about beach, and the heat is going to be affecting them too. So I think we really do go through different seasons in terms of our. Yep. What do we got here, Jane?
So we're just looking at different listings in Saanich East. So Saanich East is geographically one of the biggest areas. If I look here, come on, baby, come on up. That's too big. But if I look here, sorry.
Saanich East kind of runs.
I'm pressing the wrong thing.
East of the Pat Bay Highway, running up to Cordova Bay, and running down as far as kind of hillside. No, yeah, hillside-ish area. Saanich East kind of runs
around here. You can see, yep. And then it dips down in here, which is just below St. Michael's University School. And it has on the right it has Oak Bay, and on the left it has Oaklands, and so this is the Camosun area. Yeah. So this is the most popular area.
Arguably.
Pardon?
I said arguably.
Arguably, because it's also the largest, so it has the most amount of sales. Today we're gonna focus on Broadmead. And so Broadmead area is interesting because it has its own Broadmead Area Residence Association. So there is a website if you're interested, and you can join. It's $20 a month. I'm sure you have to be a member. They have their own monthly magazine. Oh, sorry, Spring and Fall Bugle, which comes out, which talks about what's happening in the area. So you can download that. And then in terms of real estate, it's interesting because the people who developed it were actually realtors. Do you remember who it was?
I don't remember who it was. Before my time.
The Dewhurst.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, he was one of the main.
And, Jeannie Dewhurst. Okay.
Yeah. So if you are listing a property in Broadmead, you have to have your own special sign made up. And then understanding that there are no secondary suites allowed in that area. Garden suites, I'm not sure. They do have a building scheme there, which says that they are only allowed single family dwellings. Yeah. So they're not into those.
Yep. So they're not. So it's interesting because what's interesting about Broadmead is it was. A purpose-built, purpose-developed, and imagined neighborhood. And you've got to think back 40 years ago when they were developing this neighborhood, that it was not, it was far out of what people would have considered sort of central Victoria or the more active areas of Victoria. So it was kind of far away, you might say. It's really become more incorporated into the city in a really great, desirable area now. A lot of 80s homes, a lot of 60s post and beam stuff, some really nice architecture in that area, but you're almost like you're buying into a large Bearland strata association if you're buying in Broadmead, simply because of the rules, regulations, and the fact that there's a lot more neighbor involvement. And yet that's helped to keep it, more cohesive and have a bit of its own flavor.
Yeah, and one thing that's unique about it is they really want to preserve the trees in that area.
Yeah.
So if you like, some of the properties have views or had views, which they don't anymore because Saanich in particular is very protective of the trees. So it doesn't want you to trim them. You can limb them, but they really want you to go through the process of getting your lot surveyed, and they're protective of the arbutus as well as Gary oaks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking at the diameter of the trunk, but also how that reflects in real estate is that your view can disappear over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I've noticed when showing properties in Broadmead is just how sometimes dark, and dark can equal damp too. You've got, it's just darker, a little colder, a little bit more organic materials ending up on your roof line and all of that. And yet at the same time, it feels like you're far away from Victoria in quite a nice neighborhood. So I quite like it. I mean, I think we need more nature in our lives. So it's good, but it does mean that you've got more upkeep on your home when you are surrounded by trees.
And if so, it has a mixture of condos, not very many, townhomes, quite a lot, and houses. So I'm just going to be looking at the single family homes, and I actually have some presets set up here. So this is how I look at real estate, what the finished square footage is. A lot of them are around 3,000 square feet, price per square foot, and all of that we'll look at. And then we'll look at average prices. So I'll just bring that up here. This is my handy dandy chart. So when I do a market analysis, this is what I do. I organize it from low end to high end. And actually, hold on, it's not set up there.
Is there a way we can make this full screen, I guess?
Print to PDF.
Maybe not. Okay.
So just looking here, the lowest priced house in Broadmead right now is $898.
No.
And
it's currently it was $919, originally $898. They raised the price to $919 somehow.
Yeah. And one on Royal Oak, which is a very busy road, went from $940 to $999.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're seeing a bit of hesitancy over the $1.5 million range there. So at 1.588, the property on Faithwood has been on the market for a little bit.
I don't know if I could spend $1.5 million. Well, I think I'd hesitate a bit too. I'd be wanting to choose the best choices. Sure, I'm not making a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and also it just says where do you know that you're getting good value? So there's a listing here in Emily Carr that was listed at 1.45 that sold for 1.76.
Mm-hmm.
And 1.45 sold for 1.440.
Right.
This is where we're seeing the market level off there, I'm thinking.
Around the 1.5 mark. Above that, it gets a little bit more iffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to look at those in particular?
Rarefied area where there's less people with that much money. Most people are spending, I'd say, up to, the average buyer in Victoria is under 1.2. And again, the Broadmead homes tend to be a little bit higher end and desirable. And we didn't speak about this, but they've got some great shopping around there too. 2 great malls nearby. Some good recreation. Yeah.
So this is very typical of a Broadmead home, large lot. And they used to have cedar roofs. Those were all replaced. And I think they began to realize that they were a bit of a fire hazard. And then the sloping driveway, you can't really see that here, but there were sloping driveways, and then often this kind of West Coast style big window homes. So which often had metal windows. So they weren't very efficient. All of that is changing now.
Yeah, because a lot of this was built up in the 80s, and so you've got 1980s windows, West Coast contemporary style homes with big vaulted ceilings and lots of windows. This is probably more like a late 80s, early 90s home. This one here, by the looks of it.
Yeah, with the wood siding and everything.
Yeah, and the windows and doors are very typical of that era.
Yeah, with the half moon.
Yeah, the half moon window. Yeah, for sure.
1988. Good one, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you. And this is more 57. We're 77. Oh, interesting. Okay.
So architecturally, all very interesting as well. I found like they all made a statement. And again, this is what you were saying, like in the trees, a little bit darker.
And yet just, beautiful homes. They feel like estate homes, long winding roads. It's not flat there, as you mentioned. So you end up with some really interesting settings where the homes are set in interesting ways. That was a 80s West Coast contemporary home, that last one. But yeah, large cul-de-sacs. Oh, underground utilities in that area as well. So you won't see any telephone poles or lines marring your views.
Yeah.
There's a mix of homes in that neighborhood because some people have bought the original there, and the home is still pretty much original, no updates, original carpets, original windows. And then there are people who have gone in there and really made some beautiful updates.
I'm going to show you my listing that I just sold there. It's hilarious.
Oh, is it original?
What?
All original in there?
Yeah. So again, architecturally interesting.
Yeah.
Vintage. So all the carpet, all the flooring, the wallpaper, the light fixtures, everything was vintage. That's wallpaper all up here.
What year is this? This looks like it could be 70s or 60s or late 50s. Like it's hard to know with some of this architectural style. Some of this, like a lot of 80s, I'm seeing a lot of 80s in here, but the style looks like it's more of like an older style. Yeah, that's an 80s baseboard. Yeah, the old cream baseboard.
So, but the other things you need to know are, for instance, there's a little area. So this is, I wonder if I can make this smaller. There's a little area just off Royal Oak and east of the highway, which is called Fillets, which is actually not a part of Broadmead. So it's its own little area. And then there's lots of...
Where the cemeteries are. The burial park. Yes.
Then there's a walking trail in the area. There's the bog that you can walk around. There's little ponds east Broadmead. So really nice.
Yeah.
And then if you have a boat or you want to store a recreational vehicle, you're going to have to put it behind a screen or in its own garage. So
again, the rules of the community association, and these things are registered on title from the original development. A lot of them. So it's kind of sort of set in its way. Is there a time limit on it? Some building schemes and so forth expire after a certain length of time. Do you?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay. Yeah. I want to comment. You mentioned about the roofs and when that was first developed up. Yes, the rules were shake and shingle roofs, and if you were going to re-roof, you had to go with shake or shingle again, shake roof. But shake has become really hard to get. It's hard to get good quality shake anymore because, of course, it's the old, not as much old growth anymore. So I guess they've relaxed that rule because the rule technically is still in place, is it not?
Yeah, but I think as a group they have also like the shake shingles used to be really thick. Now they're thin.
They don't last any kind of length of time anymore. Yeah.
Plus they're not fire retardant, right? So like a regular shingle.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you want an area where you're going to have control over things and your neighbors are going to care, that's one of the places. But just understand that if you, like for instance, I was looking with the client with a boat. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have to hide the boat.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the things, you get the benefit of the rules, but you also have to live by the rules. But in terms of an area in Victoria that's close to the center, close to the Victoria's amenities, has really beautiful architecture and really interesting homes, it's a great place to be looking. And again, there are people who can, people who are living there in the town. There's beautiful townhouses up in there. Some of them have great views because they're up on the rocks. Great walking trails. The Rithitz Bog is a great place to go, even if you're not living in Broadmead. And of course, again, the shopping of the Royal Oak and Broadmead centers are really easily accessible. And you're near Elk and Beaver Lake. So great spot to go. So yep. Yes, good one to focus on today. Thank you, Jane, for suggesting that one.
So we'll focus on another one maybe next week. Let's talk about Dean Park.
Yep, Dean Park's another very similar setup. So
yeah. All right. If you guys want more information, you can contact Andrew at.
You can reach me at 250-360-6106. Email is info@andrewplank.com. And Jane.
You can reach me at Jane Johnston. I'm with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. My number is 250-744-0775. And I have an email, briarhillgroup@gmail.com. And you can reach me at one of my two sites, briarhillgroup.com or vancouverislandtime.com, which is about lifestyle on Vancouver Island.
Excellent.
All right, let's make this one a short and sweet. Everyone go out and enjoy the sunshine. Have a good day.
I'm off for 3 days camping. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.